Hey, this is Charity here today, and I'm here with Miss Alessandra, and I just felt like wearing a beret today with a scarf. What can I say? We're here, and we're going to be talking about this phenomenal book that we're reading by Rachel Hollis. She's just such a normal person. We just love her books so much, and we're actually reading Girl Stop Apologizing. So if anybody who hasn't read this book, I would definitely suggest go out and get it. It's really great. It's chopped with so many incredible stories about Rachel's success and failures and things that she's discovered. And Alessandra and I are really using a lot of what she's teaching in our own personal life. So we just thought we would have a discussion about it. We really wish that we had a book club about this, but anyway, so here we are today talking about it. You know, when I think about Rachel's story and everything that she's gone through, because she's had a lot of successes, and then she's gotten to the top and she's like, didn't really feel fulfilled, I think that every woman can really relate to that. Wouldn't that be true?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So when I think about us in particular, right, just moving through the world and deciding who we want to be and what we want to accomplish, a lot of what she's teaching in the book is so helpful.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know you and I talk a lot about values and how they direct our decision making in our life. So if you could talk a little bit about maybe some of the values that you use to help you be successful in your life, I'd love to hear about that, and then I can share too.
Yeah. So I was thinking a lot in reference to this book about our dreams and what those say about us. And when we're setting goals, you know, what does that mean about who we are and what we believe in? So I was just thinking for our clients, you know, if they could talk about their dreams to somebody that didn't know them, you know, what would they hear about them? Would they hear about their successes and failures and things that they had overcome? And what would we be able to pull out about what they believe in based on just that one story?
That's so true. I think about that. And I like the part about sharing their dream with maybe somebody who doesn't know them, right? So it's more of like an objective view than a subjective view.
Yep.
What's one of your dreams that you've been working on recently? I'd love to hear about that.
So, as a lot of my clients know, and some of our Lifescapers, I just got Bobo, our dog, therapy dog certified.
Yay!
Which
Wee wee!
was such a big part of my dream for bringing another aspect of healing to my clients. So.
Oh, and we love having Bobo here
Thank
because he just adds so much extra support to being here. So part of that dream for myself too, and for our Lifescaper family, is that they have an opportunity to meet Bobo and just have another great intervention piece for them to bring them solace and love and support, right? And I think a lot of what Rachel says in this book is she's talking about finding that really sacred place of having true support. And although that support, we have to be our own support for ourselves, it is finding like-minded people, right? So that deeply connects back to this idea of values. And, you know, naming them probably is our first step, right?
Yeah.
So another great Rachel Hollis is Dr. Brene Brown, and we also interweave those two wonderful women together. She's got a great book where she talks about those values. So I think it's important for us to know actually what they are. So I'll name a couple of mine, and maybe Alessandra will share some of hers, and we can talk about interweaving our dreams and some of our plans, our objectives, into how we do that. So I know for myself, work ethic has always been a huge value of mine. And I make a lot of my decisions based off of work ethic. If I do this, will it benefit me here? If I do this, how does it benefit clients? Or if I do this, how does it benefit my overall self-care and well-being, right? So that's always so important to consider as not just a personal aspect, but for professional as well, because we spend so much time here with our Lifescapers, so it's so amazing.
Yeah.
What's one of your values that you use?
Yeah, so I actually did this wonderful acceptance and commitment therapy activity last year with one of my professors.
Okay.
And it was essentially going through every value you could think of and selecting your top 8 and what those meant to you and what it would mean if one of those didn't exist in your life.
I like that.
Yeah, and so it's something that I get to do with my clients a lot, which is really wonderful, watching them identify it. But for me, compassion always came up a lot.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and so I really believe truly in showing compassion to others, not just here, but with my family, with my friends, with the community. And I think about, you know, what would my life look like without that value?
Sure.
And I don't think it would be fully whole for me without it.
What's one of your practices that sharpens that value of compassion?
Goodness. Well, just like you said, practicing my own self-care so that I have the energy to give that back to others. Spending time with my dogs is a huge energy filling thing for me.
Yeah.
And continuing to sharpen my skills so that I can give compassion to others.
Oh, I love that. And I think about having that compassion for others and for ourselves, right? It's like an endless circle, right? If we develop it in ourselves, we can share it with other people.
Absolutely.
That's so important. And I love when Rachel, in her book, she actually talks about some of those goals of reaching out to other people and demonstrating kindness and compassion as well. I forget what page it is, but it's written through this entire book about how she really stayed true to herself. And I think that direct correlation between knowing your values is what's important for that piece, right? Finding that truer sense of who we are and being able to share that in such an incredible way is important. Totally agree with that. All right, I think it's my turn to share another value. Another value I believe is volunteering, philanthropy work, right? So important. How I was raised, I've always integrated it into my professional life too. And you're right, if I didn't have that in my life, how fulfilled would I really be? Right. That's a really good point that you bring up, and I'm so glad your professor taught you that, because now you could teach me that. Yeah. But it goes back to if I'm pursuing something that I really truly love, value-based, then I wouldn't be apologizing for that. I'd be stepping into the knowing piece of, no, I'm meant to be here. I'm meant to do these types of things, which would sharpen that truer sense of self that Rachel and you and I talk about so often, about staying true to what we want for our lives and not making apologies, but based off of value systems that benefit us in the world. Right. Yeah. Important. You're up, girl. What's your value? Let's hear it.
I think the next one I'd love to share is perseverance. And so staying resilient when things get rough. Yeah. Because the reality is things are going to be up and down in life. The only thing that is stable in our lives is change. Sure. And so being able to apply that, when things are difficult, being able to reach out and know that, that hill didn't work. Maybe I'm going to try this mountain.
I like that piece because you're right. The one constant thing is change, right? And the great intervention for change is to be flexible, right? To have all kinds of skills to use for any situation. Sure. And the greatest reward is resiliency. And I think you did mention that. It just really came up for me when you were talking about that. Yeah. So when I think about us using our values and teaching those values to clients and really creating an atmosphere where people can rise up in their life and be themselves and not have to apologize for that. I think perseverance is something that's really going to be important. Rachel talks a lot about that in her book, about achieving those external things that she thought would bring her so much joy, and they never did. Right? So you and I know that as well. It has to be like this intrinsic piece that we develop. And values, I feel like, are these little ladders that help us climb and reach new heights. Sure. Yeah. So incredible. I really appreciate you sitting down and sharing a little bit with me and sharing a little bit with our Lifescapers. And we really love this book, and we wanted to share just a little bit about our discussion and what we hope to discuss with each other. We think it's important to always be reaching out and choosing just to be in the light and the laughter and the love. And we hope that whoever's out there would pick up this book and read it, because it's really great. Rachel's just like us, right? Just an ordinary person, and in her words, just kept going. Right? Absolutely. Love it. Well, Lifescapers, I hope your weekend is fantastic. And if you ever go to Paris, make sure you buy a beret. Good night.
Night.